Okay, so I finally completed this on New Year's Day 2026, and here it is, Minas Tirith, the city of Gondor, by, I guess, this brand PopPin. I'm assuming that's what it is, or is this? I'm not 100% sure. Like, what's this bright Serenade? It's never been really written on any of the website that I got this from, which was, I think I ended up getting this from Temu, although you could get it off AliExpress, who knows, probably some other places. But this is in a mini kind of Lego-esque style of brick building. And I thought this was pretty cool. Here's a, excuse me, recovering from getting sick. And some other views. I might have shown it in the previous video. But I think overall it's pretty good. This thing doesn't really tell you how to set up the lighting in this thing. So that's one thing. There's some LEDs, which I'll show you later. It just have you mount the battery box, which is in the back here, right down here. And here's the button to turn it on. I'll just show you really quickly if I can. Right there, you can start to see some of the lights there and around there. That's what I ended up doing. I thought I was going to try and run it, weave it up through back here, then on this next tier, and then somehow up here. I think there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights only. And just the length of them and the spacing didn't really work out to where I wanted it. Like, yeah, actually the first set of lights actually ended up being up here. I wasn't sure how I was going to hide the lights here because it's so shallow. Let me just zoom up a bit if I can. Yeah, it's not really deep enough to put anything. It's gonna just, those lights are so bright that it would have been very distracting. Would look less natural. So yeah, I was just debating how am I gonna bring it, or to try to figure out to hide them up around here. But then I was looking through the instructions and looking at what pictures I could, and I was like, I don't think there's any room for me to really hide the lights up here really well either. I just realized at the very end that there's the structure here is all open in here. So I don't know if I had someone got 1, 2, and then add the other 3 lights up here, would have been way too bright. In the end, I ended up having to weave the lights back down. I had to open this up, pull out some of this. This wasn't all built yet, of course. All this wasn't, because I wanted to know how I was gonna straighten out some parts. I need to know how I was gonna feed it through, but I took like a tweezer and found a way to just start feeding the wire through this way, and then I start tucking it down in here. And I figured, that's a good place to stick it down, and maybe enough of that light would come up and illuminate this area here. It would only hit 1, 2, and 3. I wouldn't be able to go all the way around, but that's fine. It's like, it doesn't have to be totally even lighting, because in actuality, like, everything is not completely asymmetrical. Like the number of buildings and how everything flows. So yeah, so when you see it later, it's all right. It's like, it's not perfectly even, but I think it does the job. See a spot here. The one on this side is kind of more towards the back and kind of subtle. You see something here, a little something here, and a little something down here, and that's that. Now the trick is whether, if and when the times, well, probably when, which knock down my other shit back here. Hang on. The Corvette in the back out of the way. How I'm gonna address getting into this battery box. This is brick here, and I can sort of show you. from here. Yeah, this whole piece, and it goes into the buttons right where my pinky is, where I stop, that's where it's over, and it extends a bit further in, and I don't even know. I mean, I'd have to rock this out somehow, and then carefully find a way to lift and pull it out, and then get to it. And hopefully there's enough wire for me to pull it out without, getting stuck or yanking the LEDs where they're in place out of position. And then if I put it back, I may not be able to get the LEDs back in position if they do get pulled out. So I don't know. This might be just a one thing, and if it burns out, it runs out, and I'm just gonna leave it without power. For the most part, it's gonna be off anyways. It's mostly a at-home display piece. Yeah. And what else was there? Overall, it's a lot of tiny pieces, because this is the smaller scale Legos, and there's a lot of 1x1s too that you have to piece together to start building up some of the structures and the walls and everything. But I thought it's pretty cool. I think the size, which is about, 7 or 8x8. Let's see, 6, 7. Yeah, it's basically about 8. If I remember correctly, it's about 8x8 by almost 8 too. So it'll fit in a pretty decent acrylic box if I needed to. And if that's the case, then I probably won't have access to the back button unless there's an easy way for me to lift it up, show someone for a while, or put it up and then take it off and turn it off. So I don't know, unless I plan to put it on a more open, accessible display case, then I'll do that. Otherwise, the build was cool, just building it up slowly, and ultimately here, I lost my place. I do think that this has been obviously some Photoshop work. The colors are a bit different. They seem maybe slightly more vibrant on the picture here. Shouldn't be a surprise, but I do feel also that they made this feel, maybe it's the angle that they took the picture from. It feels just a tiny bit more stretched out vertically, like ever so slightly, like where I thought I was in here. I thought, I didn't realize just how far up I had actually gone. Like when I thought I was working on this part, this level, I thought actually I was here. And then it wasn't until I looked again as it was actually it's up here. So yeah, I do feel that something about this makes it look a little higher than maybe it does in real life. But anyways, I think for this tiny scale, which is comparable to say like those architect series, like back there, like these cities that Lego would put out, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that Lego has done. It's kind of like that, but a little bit more detailed and not as stylized as that, because those are just not exactly geographically in the right positions to relationship to each other, but they kind of put together in a way that looks presentable and good. This is a little bit closer to where overall everything should be. However, I'll say only later on, after completing this, and I just realized that, okay, what's going on here with this, I was never really that fond of the way they did this railing here, because at least in the movie, you don't really see this. I don't know, they're taking this from maybe some other source material, but I assume it's more from the movie. I'd say also the inaccuracies, like at least according to the Lord of the Rings movie, Return of the King, like the surrounding area, there's not that much greenery and out different like hills or something. It's fairly flat all around this castle, the city. So this seems a bit much here in relationship to what's in the movie. Of course, there's a heck of a lot more buildings and stuff all embedded everywhere, but you can only get so much. So what they were able to basically get the general feel of, I think does the job fairly well. How they represented this part of the mountain rock face. And these are one big sticker. That's the other thing too. There are several stickers that cover like several pieces. So if you're going to take it apart, you probably won't be able to easily without messing up the stickers, unless you get creative and maybe take a very sharp X-Acto knife and cut out the individual components of each piece and then start to separate it. Then you could probably put it back together, but otherwise it's pretty much stuck together. And I do wish that maybe that the decal, I don't know if you can see it, it could have been maybe more matte colored, more matte finish than this shine, because the rest of it's not quite as shiny. That's the other maybe slight negative I'd say against it. This is probably the loosest building, like it's only held by 2 studs on the back and not the tightest. So this, like you see, it's pretty easy to, you can just lift it up. It's very easy to take off. The rest of it holds pretty well. You gotta be careful about the city walls, but overall they do hold, although some of them, like at the back ends of where it curves, at the ends, like here and here, there's nothing really holding them down. The only one that is this piece here. These mountains are actually holding on the edges here pretty well on this level, but this one, these aren't. These are all more like bricks stuck together. But this is a similarly created wall with, pivoting pieces, as well as this down here. And so yeah, that's a little bit loose at the ends, but you don't mess with it. It should be fine. And let's say like the way they did the courtyard and everything up here generally sells, but when I looked at the material again, I think some of the positions of it are a bit off. Namely, this steeple or this tower, it should be a lot closer to like right about this position. Yeah, so this should be this guy should be like, I'm gonna look at it, should be almost to the side of this area of that courtyard, and then this maybe is about the right distance. Though I don't know, I do find that it's kind of weird that there's nothing right here. It should feel like there should be like something to make like a set of stairs here, which we'll see. And there are buildings to the side of this, so of the courtyard. I think when I was just watching the intro to when Gandalf gets to this city and he gets to the top, and you can see the top from, basically he comes out from, I think somewhere, is it up here? Or is it back here? I forget where the top of the stairs are that he comes riding his horse through. But anyways, you see it like kind of pan or pivot out like this. And you'll see it from this angle in the back somewhat, and you see that the landscape across here. And yeah, you don't really see any railing there. It should be more flat for the most part. If anything, it's a very low wall, if there is one. I think there is one, but this is a bit high, so I don't know what I could do to change this. And plus it's pretty well embedded in here, so it is what it is. I mean, it's all right. Again, this part looks scary, but I do feel like I wish they had made this out here, because it should be right about this position, not so far there. And then this building does stick out to the back, but then I think the side pieces aren't like lined up to the back. Like if I recall looking at it, like this actually extends. Either this should be more narrow, or this should have been just a bit longer to come out to be like right about here. And then I don't know what's back here. There's probably some more buildings back here, but it's not as important. This is most of the major facade, frontal overall facade that you're going to see. So I think, yeah, I think I said this. Maybe I can make it out of a couple of plates and just wedge something underneath here to make like stairs. I don't even know if there should be stairs. I gotta look closer at the architecture. If not, then maybe I won't even bother. Maybe there's technically some doors down there too, or something. I don't know. But I'll look at the material and source material and see what I can do. Maybe remedy this thing. yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to really do much with that. That's pretty much gonna be where that is. I don't think there's no way I can really effectively move this forward that far forward without really heavy reconstructing this part, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, it's you know, overall, I think the overall look of this looks pretty good. Let me just bring this carrot down to a little bit lower level now, so you can kind of see how it sits. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, like you go wide, trying to go wide, and you get up, and you kind of see like, hey, from like this lower angle, you can't really tell how far off that tower is. There you go. And let me finish off by turning off some lights here. And see if I can at least show off how this might look like with the lights on. And let me turn off the light over here. I gotta turn off the other lights. I think. And I gotta lower it a bit. So I think from this angle, and I think, well, that's what I can do. You know, the lights are a bit strong. I try to aim them away from the outside so that they don't light up through the walls as much. But, you know, that's the best I could do. And I wish I could change maybe I should something. My auto, you know, ISO is affecting this a bit. I'm trying to, it's hard to get it accurate. I don't have to set on manual, so it's kind of hard to show you how this actually looks like in person. The idea, I think that's the best way for me to go with the lights. I think definitely it would shine way too bright at the top, and I figure it makes more sense for, you know, a couple areas and around the middle section, and particularly on the bottom where probably there's more life and activity with all the townspeople within the kingdom, whatever, you know, going on at nighttime. That would make more sense. And then the up top should have some lights, but you know, in relationship, there's probably more activity down here than there is up at the palace up top. So that's my thinking. And I mean, as an overall, it lights up most of it pretty good. You know, I think, you know, you get a little bit of this here, a little bit there, yeah, and you know, it's not completely even. Otherwise, that might look a little bit too unnatural too. If it's like very evenly lit, bam, 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 like certain spots on one side, bam, 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 exact same, like mirrored on the other, right? It shouldn't really be like that. I think in real life, if this was in real life, that is. And yeah, so let me see if I can get some lights back on. Or should I do this side instead? No, just like that. Anyways, overall, this took me a couple of days. And I worked on a bag or a set of bags, like stage 1, stage 2, and so forth, until I finally finished up here with the last 2 bags, 5 and 6, which was basically, I think, from this point up, including the mountain, if not mistaken. And here, that was one day or afternoon. And yeah, I think if you put a full days in, then you'll probably get done within that day. Otherwise, probably 2 pretty full days. yeah, not much to see back here. I'll just get to a closer look. And yeah, I think from afar, this is something like this scale is best viewed from a distance. And as such, and under certain lighting conditions, I think this actually works pretty well. If you know are you familiar with the source material, then you'll just see this and recognize it for what it is, and it's like, oh, it's cool, little brick built, representation of Minas Tirith, and I think the size is good for my room and what I can accommodate for brick building stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I don't know, this has probably been out for about a year or so. And it's funny, I'll just say that recently they just, after I bought this, they started, like, I don't know, maybe rumors were out already, but and maybe because I've been looking at it, like I've been getting like feeds from some places because they, whatever is reading like what I'm looking at and trying to feed more information. But I do believe maybe there's been more recent information about an upcoming set from Lego based on this, and it's sure it's going to be a heck of a lot bigger and more expensive, which I'll be interested to see, but I doubt if I'm going to be getting it. Too expensive, probably way too big for what I can do. Anyways, I gotta check out here, so thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.